Man, this epiphany is still just like marinating there. It's still lurking. It's still like I don't know. It's wild to me how I can know something for so long. Like I could be like looking at something for so long and then it's like it turns around and it shows me a whole new side of it that I didn't see before. It's like when you're holding a piece of artwork out in front of you and it's so abstract that you can look at it in different ways and kind of like draw new meanings from it, right? So like I'm really just sitting with this epiphany of, you know, like in every single moment of life, you can choose to be whoever, however, and whatever you want. Like, and oftentimes the only thing that's stopping a person from doing things differently is fear. But now what I'm doing is learning to look at the fear and being like, oh, you're actually really just excitement. Because deep down inside, I know that I would love to do what it is that I'm being pulled to do. And whatever fear is present is just kind of like miscommunicating itself because I'm used to seeing things in a fearful way. I'm used to being in fear. Fear is a very familiar feeling, a very familiar energy dynamic for me. And the more I look at it for what it is, but also looking at it as that I could turn it a different way, like turning fear into excitement. I guess that a good example is in college, I took a speech class, and that class scared me because it was a bit outside of my comfort zone. But it also taught me a lot. It also probably influenced me to be a better speaker on camera for YouTube videos, and I'm really happy about that. But I'm not sure if it was the class that I took that I remember the teacher saying, like, how you can turn fear into excitement, but, like, you know, I've felt it where it's like you're about to do something that either you don't do often or you've never done before, and your heart is beating out of your chest, right? But all you have to do is just step into it. And this is the whole thing of like you are already it. All you have to do is choose to be it. Choose to start. Throughout my entire life there's been so much overthinking, there's been so much lack of decision making, and now I see it and it's just kind of like, oh, I see it for what it is, and instead of being paralyzed by it and like seeing things more clearly of like, say for instance, like a decision, right? I would say that a majority of the decisions that a person has to make in life are actually very unimportant, you know? Meanwhile, throughout my life, I've gotten caught up on things. And like when I actually just do, instead of like trying to distract myself with the unpredictability of scrolling on social media and looking at things that are actually very irrelevant to my life, that are just familiar and comfortable because maybe it gives me like a dopamine spike or something like that. I can instead teach myself that it's okay to start to not be the best at something and to make mistakes, right? It's all just a matter of learning. What matters is starting. I have been afraid of like doing something because of how it may turn out, right? And the more I do that, the more I feed that fire. And I really want to starve that fire and actually completely put it out. And this is why I'm really happy that I started making YouTube videos. Because the YouTube videos have been an outlet for me to explore my experiences of life and what it is that I'm going through. I see that I'm doing the YouTube videos. I guess you can look at it in two different ways, but I'm doing it in one of two different ways. It's either that I'm doing it as a means to an end, or an end in and of itself. So one of them is like I'm doing videos to try to get something out of it, right? Like, I don't know. People maybe do YouTube channels because they want subscribers, they want likes, they want this, that, and the other, all of the validation of social media. And I'll validate that. I get it. But when you do something because you're passionate about it, it's an end in and of itself. You do it because you're passionate about it. And this is what I'm learning. And, like for instance, I remember when I was in college, there were classes that I didn't like taking at all. And that energy dynamic was very specific. I I wanted to show up to the classes late because I didn't like them, and I wanted to get out early because I didn't like them. And this is how I knew that something wasn't right for me. Something wasn't aligned for me, right? Um, and like you can watch other students and stuff. You notice the dynamic. They don't want to show up on time. They want to leave early. They don't want to be there. And it's wild that, and I'm not talking about discipline. If you need to get good at something, you need to be disciplined and you need to do it consistently. It's a matter of brick by brick. But there are things out there that people do, and people are kind of like influenced, pressured, and forced to do by authority figures and parents because they're led to believe that it's what they have to do or that it's what they should be doing. And this whole matter of running faster towards what I want to create is congruent with my authentic self because it's what I'm passionate about. That's the difference here. And that's why this epiphany is so powerful because I look at what I'm doing and I look at whenever I'm like, indulging in social media, just mindlessly scrolling through unpredictability, not knowing what's going to come onto my feed. I see that and I'm like, I don't need to do that. I can instead put that energy and time into building something like a YouTube channel or a podcast or music or like whatever it is, like being more focused on that. And when I really see that for what it is, it completely transforms how I look at myself and how I utilize my time and energy. And I see that I'm not actually doing things as a means to an end, going to a college class that I'm not interested in to get a degree that I honestly probably don't even care about either because I'm told that I need it by a society that, whatever, like focusing on the passion side of things. And I'm glad that I'm incorporating this element of, the passion side of things because I have throughout my entire life, and I wish I didn't have to admit this, but I have throughout my entire life done things that I don't want to do, that are not interesting to me, that I'm not passionate about, that I've been told that I have to do or that I should do. And it's just bullshit. So I'm going to call it for what it is and take my energy back and reserve it for the things that are more important to me. And then that's when things like flow happen, right? So I'm just really excited about this epiphany. I won't be surprised if this epiphany continues to show itself in different ways and new ways than it even is right now, because that's how things happen. That's how evolution happens. Something presents itself, and you have the opportunity to look at it in new and different ways. It's exciting.